What I want this video to be about today is how do you choose? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up some examples and then I'm going to kind of walk through like how I would choose one over the other. Or in my case, I'm actually going to bring up communities that I have personally been transformed by or I haven't been involved in and why I chose one or the other, which hopefully will help all of you. Because again, I know you're in investment mode. I know that you want to budget for your learnings, for your networking, for your growth, but it needs to be something that makes sense to you, that feels right to you. So let's talk about that. Also, this is really a conversation that can be had year round and anytime. So feel free to go into the comments, ask me questions. Let's keep the conversation going. Okay, everyone? Last thing I want to mention before I share anything is yes, I have some communities that, again, I continue to support and stay in, but I've tried so many out. So just because I'm giving you some examples of a few here, there are several out there. And so this video is just to kind of give you an idea on how I make those decisions. But I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying that they're all different and that it really is that process of creating your decision tree or that list of pros and cons. Let's say you're in the middle of choosing one network over another and maybe you really are struggling with that decision. Make that list, put them both up on the top, show their pros and cons, and see who wins, right? Who wins, who has more benefits for you based on where you're at in your business right now. So just something to think about, even though I'm going to share specific examples, it doesn't mean that these are the only ones out there. And it doesn't mean that these are even right for you. It really depends on where you're at in your business right now and where you're at on your learning and professional journey as well, because maybe one of these networks is a little bit too high level. They're 3-4 years into your business and you're just starting. Or maybe the network is only, 3 to 5 years in the business, but you've been in business for 10 plus years. So just something to think about there. I'm going to start here by sharing the first network, again, that I have been involved in now for over 10 plus years, and that's Seth David's network. So one thing I absolutely love about Seth David's network, and really I would say his evolution of his network, which he likes to refer to as his galaxy, his nerd galaxy, is that Seth David has been in the accounting business and really in the community building business for decades now. I mean, we have been friends for at least a decade and a half, if not longer at this point. And throughout this entire friendship and business relationship, he's always had communities. He's always figuring out ways to build community and serve his community. And he's testing it out, which I love because he'll test it out and then I'll see whether it works or not. And depending on whether it works or not, it helps me decide on, am I in the right community or do I need to shift community? So huge appreciation and shout out to Seth David for testing tons of things out over the last 10 plus years to help us as members that are wanting to join communities to decide on whether it's a good fit for us. So Seth David, again, has been in the accounting industry for many, many years. He has a vast knowledge in accounting and bookkeeping. He's also a course creator, so he's created several courses. He's also a community leader, so he's built several communities. And so he obviously has a good foundation in the technical skills and also in the community leadership skills, which I appreciate. So when you come over to Seth's website, what you will maybe see is you may not necessarily see right away his communities. And so that's why I wanted to show you what you'll want to do is you'll want to go to nerdenterprises.com and then you'll want to click on Our Galaxy, because as I mentioned before, he refers to his kind of supportive community and all the additional support he gives you, which many times includes his additional resources like his courses, his one-on-one, being able to be in the same Zoom room with him. All of that is part of his support system and support communities. So you'll want to go to Our Galaxy, and I'm just going to start with one of his most recent, again, told you he's a tester, which I appreciate. One of his most recent support areas he's created, which is called the Nerds Galaxy. Join our community for just $97 a month. So this is his opportunity to support everyone. So all of the people that are in all of his courses, because he has thousands of people in his courses, hundreds, if not thousands of people in his courses. And then he also has people in another group where he supports them in much more detail with a whole lot of resources and a group coaching called 97 and Up, which we'll look at in a moment, but this is kind of his overall umbrella to serve everybody else. Get access to him. And when I say access to him, I really mean like he answers questions. He's very involved. He's active in all of his communities. It's pretty incredible. It inspires me every day to be as active as I am because that I see him do that with his members. And so this is a very cool opportunity to again be around accountants, bookkeepers, and tax professionals. Understand what Seth is offering. Let's say if you're in one of his courses, being able to ask specific questions about his courses and getting that continuous support. That's actually really important because many course creators and educators out there don't give you support for their courses, which again, I don't understand that because I'm a course creator and I don't understand how you cannot support the members that actually purchase your courses, but that is the reality. And so he does give you like hands-on support of what you're learning from him, which I think is really amazing. But if you are ready to go all in, then truly his full mastermind academy network, if you want to call it, is 97 and up. So that's really his full academy, his full network, his full mastermind, where he meets with them twice a week, where they get access to his courses. They get like truly one-on-one access to him. It's a smaller network, so you have less people in it, and it's just incredibly supportive. So that was really the original network he had, and he's had for many, many years. But because he's again branched out to course creation and to other type of community support, he has other measures to support those other people. But the core accounting, bookkeeping, and tax members that really want to grow their practices and to scale their practices and to have profitable years would really go into the 97 and up 97 and up mastermind group. I will drop links to that so you can learn more. It's what I've been in for many, many years. And believe it or not, even though I'm not even a full practitioner anymore, I am now a full educator with very minimal accounting and tax clients. But I still love to be in that group because he teaches, again, both sides of the table, the technical skills of being an accounting bookkeeper or tax professional, and then the right side, heart-centered skills of being a business owner. Huge difference of only learning one side of the business versus learning both sides of the business. So truly appreciate that about Seth. And I will again drop a link to that 97 and up mastermind if you truly want mentorship, if you truly want growth, if you truly want like an incredibly supportive community. I also want to share, like, there's different ways to create community or be in community. So these are my dear friends, Liz Scott and Heather Satterley. Hopefully you know them already. They have been in the accounting industry as well for more than 10 plus years. They have worked together with their Appy Hour with Liz and Heather. They have been at pretty much all the conferences for over a decade. So I'm sure you've seen them speak. They have their own accounting practices and then they've transitioned into different roles. And Heather even became the lead educator of the Woodard Group that hosts the Scaling New Heights Conference, one of the largest, most transformative accounting conferences that happen every single year. So a lot of shifts in their beautiful paths as accounting professionals, but they've always stayed together. And the reason why I mentioned Heather and Liz is because sometimes wanting to be in a community doesn't always necessarily mean you have to pay for it or you have to join a mastermind network and be there, twice a week or once a month. It could also be you want to be in community with others. So, following what Heather and Liz do, joining their Appy Hour sessions where they have really cool Facebook Live sessions where they bring guests on and you get to learn about how other accountants build their practices, maybe how that person shared about their practice, you decide to start following them on LinkedIn, and then you end up becoming like friends with that other person. They bring in, they're contagious and they bring in incredible people. And honestly, that's what they did to me. They brought me in, we're really close friends, and they've brought me into a lot of magic they've created over the years. And so I want to be in community with them, but I'm not necessarily in a community with them. So that's an example I wanted to explain, that some people think like, oh my gosh, you must be in so many communities. No, I'm actually not in a specific network that I pay for where Heather and Liz are. I'm more in community. Like I want to always be around them. I want to find out what they're doing. I'm on their newsletters. If they're going to teach a class, I'll probably be attending one of those classes. I'll try to jump onto their Facebook live streams from time to time. So I'm kind of in their circle, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm actually in a network with them. So again, I wanted to just give you another example of what it means to be in community. So on that same note, I want to give you another example here. So I'm sure if you've been in the accounting industry long enough, you know Hector Garcia. So Hector Garcia was actually inspired by Seth David to create his YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel has blown up. He does amazing work. He's also a great friend of mine who gives tons to the industry. And so what I love about Hector Garcia's example, though, is he also has been transitioning into, wanting to help the masses, wanting to shift the language of what the accounting industry is, the perspective. And so he launched a conference called Reframe back in 2022, which I attended the first time he had this conference because I wanted to be one of the OGers, because I know that whatever he does and creates is amazing. But what he's done since then in 2023, he also had the Reframe conference, and now he's having these kind of mini conferences, and he is creating an amazing community. And not only accountants, this is what I love. So if you see this gentleman right here, his name is Chris Doe, which I had been following for many years, completely outside of what Hector Garcia was doing. And when I heard that Chris Doe was going to be one of Hector's guests, it's like our communities collided, right? Because Chris Doe focuses on marketing, branding, a business strategy, and he has an amazing podcast called The Future, a YouTube video called The Future, a YouTube channel called The Future. And when I saw that Hector Garcia and Chris Doe were partnering up, it was like, again, that power of left brain, right brain, the full kind of holistic view of what it takes to build a business, or even to transform yourself in your business, right? Because Hector talks a lot about the transformation of the accountant. And so that can also be part of your community goals, is maybe join or attend a conference that's going to help you be in community. And so think about it like that too. Maybe like investing in a $1,500 or $2,000 conference, whatever it is, because honestly, that's usually the prices nowadays. They're not less than that, can help you be in community with others. And when you're there in that community, everything else happens. Like it's fireworks. Other fireworks are going to happen from that conference. And I'm a huge believer in that, because when I opened my practice in 2007, when I decided to completely go on my own, it wasn't until 2014 that I stopped going to those very, no offense, but kind of stale tax conferences, and I decided to go to more accounting transformative conferences. And I realized those were where my people were at, people that were really thinking out of the box, that were doing new things and exciting things. So that's another way for you to build community. Okay, another example. So I'm in a group called the Theater of Public Speaking. It's by my friend Misty, Megia, which I'll cover in a moment. And one of the members, her name is Nancy. She goes by the Dancing Accountant. And she has this new community she built back in 2023, which I think is really cool. It's called Ask a CPA. And this is the opportunity to actually bridge the gap between bookkeeping and tax professionals, and really having them all speak the same language. So she refers a lot to the Tax Ready Bookkeeper or Tax Ready Books, which is something I've been covering for, over 15 years. I've been talking about Tax Ready Books. So I'm very aligned with what Nancy is doing in Ask a CPA. Her pricing is amazing at this point. At the time of this video, it's $47. And I love this. I wanted to show you this specifically because it's also really important when you're going and looking on these websites. Is it clear what you're getting? Now, I'm not saying to say no or discount or just jump off a website if it's not clear. Maybe you're going to have to message the host or the group, the main group leader, and ask them. But it's also really nice when it's really clear what you're getting. So that way, okay, this is what I'm going to expect from this experience. And again, something like $47 a month for so much value. Like if you need to build your skills as a bookkeeper to learn more about taxes and to be able to ask a CPA questions, that makes perfect sense. So again, this example is like Don't be afraid to do your homework, or if it's not clear, ask them questions. Find them on LinkedIn, send them a message. I guarantee you, if you send a message to Nancy and said, hey, I want to know more about Ask CPA, I know she would be excited about it. Okay, so that's just something to also think about when you're choosing your communities. Okay, so let's cover Robina Bennion's her community and what she's doing. So Robina Bennion, as you can see here, she is a dream life and money coach. So she is a retired CPA who worked as a CPA for many, many years in the public accounting realm, in the public accounting industry. She opened her own practice, became a dream life money coach. So she helps people with, of course, money mindset. But what I love about what she is doing is that she created something called Soul Circles, CEO Soul Circles. So she created this group a couple of years ago, and basically it's a very small, intimate group of women-owned business owners. And at this point, most of us are in the accounting industry or related to the accounting industry, but it's not a prerequisite, it's not requirement, but it just happens to be that both Robina and I, who were also clarity partners, meaning we keep each other clear and accountable year round, the accounting industry gravitates us because that's our background. But she's created this community called CEO Soul Circles, where we really can build out our dreams, our personal dreams, our professional dreams. We can think about that every week because we meet on a weekly basis. And we can do, again, on this side, a whole lot more on the heart centered side. So at this point, everything I've shared to you is definitely more left brain, is definitely more business related. Even when I say that we're working on the left and the right side, it's still quite kind of higher level business conversations, which I love. You don't go too deep. You don't go into that soul side of your business too much, because why? Because that's very sensitive. It's very intimate. It's very private. What I love about the soul circles, though, is that we can go into that deeper level. And if you are ready to go into that very heart centered, spiritually energetic, and kind of soul searching level, there are spaces out there. So I'm not necessarily saying go to this space, because also, you want to feel comfortable, and obviously if you choose to go to this space, it's probably someone that knows me or knows Robina. So for example, today was our first day of 2025. We have a new member, and this member was someone that's known me for several years. She's been kind of wanting to think about maybe joining something like this, and she joined, which it was so beautiful to see that. But again, when we're talking about these more intimate and kind of a deeper soul type of groups, or that heart-centered group, of course you need to connect on a different level. But I just want you to know that there are those spaces out there, because I've heard from people, well, I can't get that deep, I can't share, I can't cry, I can't let people know that I'm a hot mess, right? Because many times we're all a hot mess, especially if we're business owners, if we're mothers, we're daughters, we're wives, we're siblings, we're friends, all these things. Of course, behind the scenes, there's a lot of mess. There's a lot of messes in our successes, right? So there are places like this, safer places for you to also work on yourself and on your business. So I just wanted to mention that. Lastly, I'm just going to quickly mention that there's also a really cool group called Bookkeeping Buds by my friend City Schroeder. And this is also a long-lived community. She's had Bookkeeping Buds for several years. And again, just really appreciate her continuing to support the bookkeeping community. And I have had a lot of people love the support and the resources she provides. She has a group where I believe she still uses Slack, where everybody's in the Slack channel. She supports them there. She also has some live sessions. And so I have gotten a lot of people that actually been recommended through her to come to my courses, because again, we're very aligned. Cindy is also part of Misty's group, which is the theater of public speaking. So again, we're all kind of colliding in our inner circles. And of course, Cindy and I have been in many accounting different experiences together. So it's such a beautiful collision of hearts and minds. So I just wanted to mention Bookkeeping Buds community by Cindy Schroeder. The last couple of communities I want to mention, now these are not accounting related, but I get asked about this is this one specifically, Misty Mejia's Theater of Public Speaking. This is for speakers. So speakers that want to build out their voice, that want to unmute their voice, and they may want to unmute their voice, obviously on the stage like me, or even in the boardroom. Maybe they're not feeling heard, or they're not articulating what they want to articulate in their own businesses, as the chief executive of the business or the board member of the business, and so they really want to build that out. So the power in this community is just, I could create a whole nother episode on the theater of public speaking, because we have women from so many different walks of life. And Misty really does combine now at this point. That's why I had her last. Well, second to last. I have one more I wanted to share, because she does combine the business aspect, the very technical skills aspect, in this case is public speaking, and the very heart-centered aspect. So this is a community that where we do go deep, we do go into our soul, we do get vulnerable, we do cry, and it's incredible to have a group of high achieving women speakers, and women goal getters all in one place. Incredible opportunity. Now, I would say you would need to contact her in regards to how to join the community if it's changed, but up to what I know is you would actually join one of her cohorts, her speaker cohorts, which is through the Theater of Public Speaking. And after you would join her cohort, for example, I'll put work with me. Once you join for one of her cohorts, then you would click on this one, the theater public speaking or the corporate speaking program. Once you've graduated from that program, then she invites you into what's called the Alumni Society. And that's where I've been. I've been in that since 2021, because she launched her program in 2021. Again, I was the first one to join because I had actually been one of Misty's mentees. So she had been my mentor for almost 10 years before this happened. And so when I heard she had a program, I joined it. And now I'm in her alumni society with all of these women that I'm mentioning. So incredible, incredible stuff. But I think that's how you join her community still, is by joining a program, graduating from the program, and then becoming an alumni member. And then in addition to the alumni, which is where you're with everybody, she has a separate society where we go deeper on a monthly basis we meet live online on a monthly basis, and we do other kind of challenges and goal setting together, and that's in her society. So really amazing to kind of know that there's different ways for you to build out your communities. Okay, another opportunity that you can be in community and also start learning about the other opportunities to connect with, let's say, the admins or the hosts of the communities, is joining an online community or a social media community like a Facebook community. So by now, everybody knows how Facebook communities work. They are absolutely free, and usually the host or admin of the community may have another opportunity for you to work alongside them or learn from them, but this is their main area of support. So Kate Johnson is an amazing example of someone that has built out this amazing community of over 34,000 people. I know that it's only been a few years in. She also brings in experts into her community. She does YouTube live videos, and she has really been wanting to create the awareness around her being the FreshBooks expert and building her accounting and bookkeeping practice with a niche in the FreshBooks software, and guiding bookkeepers that there are ways for you to, really specialize in an area or even in the software, like in her case, FreshBooks. But in her group, it's a beautiful group where people come in, they talk about building their practices. They're at all levels of their business. And she also, like I said, spends a lot of time collaborating with partners, with program application partners as well, softwares. And so it's just a really great place to be in community, to learn from one another. And then let's say you fall in love with the way Kate has created her practice, then you could even consider maybe learning from her. For example, in 2025, she's creating an opportunity for those accountants that want to convert their clients to FreshBooks from QuickBooks or another software to help with that process. And so great opportunity for you to learn from someone that already has a free option to get to know them and then continue learning. Another great example of that would be Another great example of that would be Alicia Katz Pollock. So Alicia Katz Pollock, we've been friends for many, many years. We were on the Intuit Trainer Writer Network together and in the National Trainer team, where we were traveling all over the US teaching the QuickBooks Online certification to live audiences. And she has her company RoyalWise. So she is a professional educator. She has a degree in teaching. She's also a trainer, a mentor. She has a community, but you can learn from her or connect with her right from her own social media community on Facebook, training for QuickBooks users. And then when you fall in love with her, which I guarantee you will, then you can move on to her next offerings, whether it's joining her RoyalWise membership and choosing one of the memberships that best fits your learning needs and your learning goals. And then of course several of those learning memberships include community. So here's another opportunity. And the last person I'll mention in regards to a person that has never stopped, that's kept on going, is Mike Mylan. He is the cash flow king, the cash flow trainer. Many people know him as Cash Flow Mike. Again, he's another one of my colleagues that has come into my trainings, my cohorts I've collaborated with. But most importantly, Mike is very similar to Seth, that he has been doing this. He's been training not only accountants, bookkeepers, and tax professionals, he's trained bankers for the banking institutions and systems. He's trained many, many different levels of entrepreneurs, and he's a serial entrepreneur himself as well. He's an author of multiple books, and he's just an overall amazing storyteller. I've done several podcasts with him that have been really fun, but you can also, again, connect in one of his free resources, like his social media group on Facebook, get to know him, and then choose whether you want to, again, join his community, subscribe to the offerings that he has. So again, another way of being in community, just to kind of tie this all up, is to search different options to be in community. It can be social media, which most people, that's the first thing they think about. It could be joining a Facebook community. It can be joining a program that has community, or it can be choosing whether you want to go more on the left brain technical side versus right brain soulful heart-centered side, or combined all of this together. So all of these are opportunities for you to build into your community for 2025 and beyond. One last thing for all of you, because I think it's only fair to mention it, because you're like, well, Megia, what about you, right? So yes, so I actually have my community, which is Master Your Book. So if you go to masteryourbooks.com, I really focus on education. So I want you to learn first. I want you to be empowered first. I want you to get ignited first. But so many of my members become part of my community, because throughout the year, I also have free community events where I just have live experiences online, and you can join, you can meet other people that way. I also bring collaborative partners, so speakers to speak on a topic. And so you get to meet them. For example, last year I brought Kate Johnson, who spoke about FreshBooks. I brought Robina Bennion, that talks about the money mindset. I brought other people in so you can meet them, and then you can think about joining their communities. And I brought Seth David many, many times because he's awesome as well. And so for me, when I say I support my community, I want you to be educated. I want you to learn these amazing, topics, especially when they are going to help you build yourself professionally and personally. But then you are now part of my community. You'll get notifications through my email newsletter. We're connected on social, and I'll invite you to all those other free events. And more importantly, I will let you know where I'm at, because I just shared with you, I'm in all these places that I shared today. And so that is the best way for us to stay connected, is that I will secretly let you know, hey, I'm in Seth's community. I'm in Robina's community. I hang out with Liz and Heather. Do you want to hang out with us? Right? And so I will bring you into all those other experiences if they are right for you. And more importantly, if it's the right time for you. Because that's the one thing I'll end with. And I want to end with this because it's super important, that even when I share all of these opportunities, all these communities, all these programs, it may not be the right time for you. So don't ever feel overwhelmed, and don't ever feel like you're missing out. You will choose to be in the right place when it's meant for you. Because right now, you're exactly where you're meant to be. And when you make that choice, you will now move into that next phase you need to be at. So that's it, everybody. That's all I wanted to do. Again, in this video, I'll drop all these links. Hope this was helpful. Again, this was not about comparing one over the other. It was really about explaining my strategy on how I choose the different communities and how we can be in community, which sometimes means join the network, and sometimes it just means revolve yourself with the people that are going to lift you up and elevate you. Okay, everybody. Until next time. Bye for now.